First name Mr. Last name Glass. That's right, guys. The third movie of the Israel 177 trilogy by M. Night Shyamalan. Um, I'm here to do a review to Glass, obviously, and I seen this movie like today, so I thought maybe I could like record some video about reviewing the movie because actually I've been looking for seeing this movie, since December I think, and of course this movie is actually a sequel to Unbreakable and Split. I saw both of them and both of them were great, and I'm highly recommend this movie to you guys, even though again there is some flaws in the movie, but anyway we'll talk about it. So the first act of the movie is about the unbreakable guy, obviously David Dunn, played by Bruce Willis, and he's obviously trying to chase down the Horde, played by James McAvoy, the Kevin Wendell Crump, who has 24 different personalities, and of course the one of the movie highlights is actually a conflict between David Dunn and the Beast, which is they fight each other, and honestly, I found it was okay, even though the fight is just like wrestling, you know what I mean. And obviously this was a superhero movie, but it's more like a realistic superhero movie. It's obviously by M Night Shyamalan, and M Night Shyamalan, guys, always with the plot twist, and we'll get to that later on. But yeah, some people said the first half was great, and I agree with them because, well, I mean it was not boring, and the first act was really really great. When David Dunn is searching for the beast or the horde, like it was really really good, and I really enjoyed that. And then the second act coming, and it's all about literally all about James McAvoy, or Kevin Crumb personalities, switching personalities, and that's actually one of the movie highlights again because they keep like he keep changing personalities every single time, and we kind of see that in the end of Split, where he changed personality like several times, I guess, when the horde is taking over Kevin's body, and in this one you guys gonna see that like a lot, and yeah, this is, and because of James McAvoy acting, the movie didn't feel boring, and of course, Mr. Glass, obviously, that's literally the title of the movie, but I gotta say, Mr. Glass, the first 45 minutes of the movie, like he didn't talk, you know what I mean? Because he's been like sedated, in Ravenhill Hospital by Dr. Ellie Staple, which is a psychiatry, trying to convince this character that they're not superhero. They're just good at certain things, that they he tried she tried to explain their superpower through psychologically. I'm sorry. But obviously, I mean, he kind of make David Dunn and Kevin Crumb, doubt about their superpowers, But Mr. Glass is like, nah, I don't believe that. I mean, yeah, obviously Mr. Glass is very obsessed with comic book and everything, and I think he said comic book is an influence to the real world. I kind of forget, but while he does believe that are real and is indeed real, but he just kills so many people to prove that. And one of them is the train, which is Israel 177. Um, and yeah, so Mr. Glass didn't convince by Dr. Staple, obviously, and from there on, Mr. Glass decided to like, okay, let's see about like he's trying to meet the horde, you know what I mean, and he's trying to meet with the beast and try to convince the beast to actually work with him. And I mean, Mr. Glass has been locked up in for 19 years in this Ravenhill Memorial Hospital. But and once again, he's like the mastermind and everything. He managed to get out of his room for some reason. I mean, I don't know. I can't explain that, and I don't think the movie explained that either. It's just like, okay, he managed to get out of his room undetected, even though there is so many cameras around. I mean, he kind of explained how the cameras work, but how he avoid that, but it didn't explain how Mr. Glass actually come out of his secure room. You know what I mean? And the thing about secure room that David Dunn is locked with a bunch of like water around him. Like there is like I don't know how this to describe it, but when he tried to make a move, try to make an escape, there is like a big pipe, around his room, and when he tried to escape, that pipe is just spray out water directly at David, and that's weakened him. I mean, I kind of get it that David Dunn weakness is water, but it's kind of weird to see this because I think his weakness is drowning. You know what I mean? Instead of just water. If that's actually the case, then how he's gonna take a shower? Is it gonna weaken him every single time he take a shower? So this part is like confusing time in the movie. And the second part, what's in the second part? And the second room that I'm trying to talk about is James McAvoy room or Kevin Crumb room. It's actually equipment with lights, you know what I mean, with flashy lights. I kind of forget what they call, but every single time the horde is trying to escape, that the light flash at his eyes and like immediately change personality. You know what I mean? But the plot holes is, if that actually the case, why didn't Kevin just cover his eyes with a pillow or something like that, and then he will be able to escape? I mean, I don't know. I guess that's the movie. I guess the movie needs to happen. So, anyway, um, so yeah, the best part is about James McAvoy performance. Even though the title is Glass, but Mr. Glass like didn't actually do much until the third act of the movie, and that's where the twist happened. We'll get to that later on, and then the side characters, of course, the side character of this movie, which is Joseph Dunn, played by Spencer uh, Clark, I think. I don't know. I kind of forget his name. Um, which is Joseph Dunn, son of David Dunn. 19 years later, and he's actually worked like his backup or IT guy. You know what I mean, for David Dunn. And he actually guide his dad. Well, like, oh, this is where to go, Dad. This is the best way to go, and this is where the villain was. This is the best place to find him. Pretty much like that. Pretty much like Batman. You know what I mean? And then the side character is Casey Crook, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, which is from Split, and from here he's obviously a side character. And some people didn't like the way the movie treat her, but me personally, like, I guess it's fine. Like his relationship with Kevin is actually growing this time, and it's more like they love each other. Even though that's kind of weird, I have to admit, but I kind of like it at the same time. You know what I mean? Because they both suffer like the same one. Because Kevin is being abused by his mother, Penelope Crumb, and then Casey is being abused by his uncle. You know what I mean? So they kind of have one thing in common. So I kind of get it why they love each other, or they kind of support each other. Kevin, not the other personalities. You know what I mean? Kevin and Casey, and then the other side character is Elijah's mother. Obviously, didn't play a big part of this movie, and he just straight out like worrying about his son. Even though his son killed a lot of people, but in this movie, Elijah's mother didn't even mention that. Like, I don't think he. Well, I mean, obviously she realized what his son did, but I don't know. The movie didn't clarify that. The movie didn't actually have one line like Elijah's mother telling Mr. Glass said that, "I ever feel bad about doing this whole killing thing?" Like the movie didn't deliver that, and that's kind of disappoint me. Like, I know you're his mother, but you didn't actually like worry about your son, or like mad of your son from doing that. It's just like, okay, my son did this. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but while it happens, and then the twist about this movie, um, which is at the end, is revealed that Doctor Spoiler alert, by the way, that Dr. Ellie Staple is actually part of the secret organization that's actually put superhero out of the misery, or just convince them that they're not superheroes because they want to keep everything balanced, in this world. But and I think I don't know what the organization called, but I searched from the internet. It's called Clover Organization. I could be wrong about this, because I mean they got a clover tattoo in their arm. The organization. So I guess it's safe to say that it was the Clover organization. And of course, spoiler again, all these three characters, Elijah Price or Mr. Glass, Kevin Wendell Crumb, and David Dunn, they all died in the end. And that kind of like upset me, you know what I mean? Because I didn't expect David Dunn to die. I expect him to survive, you know what I mean? And the way he died is really, really ridiculous. Like, the organization just drowned him in a puddle, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man, we didn't see this man since 19 years. And he just gonna die by drowning in a puddle? Like, seriously, M. Night Shyamalan, jeez. I know M. Night Shyamalan is a great director back then. Right now, he didn't really a great director because, well, things change. I mean, The Visit and Split was very good, but Glass is kind of 50-50. And me personally, I kind of 50-50 with this movie. There is some part that I liked, but there is some part that I found it like ridiculous, especially the plot twist. And the plot twist is that Mr. Glass has been teasing that, oh, David Dunn or the Overseer is actually gonna fight the beast in the Osaka Tower, and of course, Mr. Glass gonna blow up the tower by blowing up the chemical. You know what I mean, in that tower. And I thought they're gonna do that. I thought they're gonna do that cool kind of thing in like pretty much all superhero movies. But in the end, plot twist happened that the final fight just happened in outside of the parking lot of the hospital, and it didn't feel really really good. I mean, the music is great, the scene, how it transition is really really great, but the fight between the Beast and the Overseer or David Dunn, it didn't really feel great. Even though I kind of get it, this is a realistic superhero, but it didn't really feel great or cool. You know what I mean? Like the fight just happened like 3 minutes or something like that in the end of the movie. I mean, in the first act they kind of fight, but it's only for like a split second, I guess. Um, and then when the final fight happened, I mean, I kind of enjoyed the fight scene, but it didn't really really cool. You know what I mean? And and then the twist happened, and I don't really like the twist. You know what I mean? And then the other twist is happening that Mr. Glass' original plan is actually hacked this camera on the hospital. So it's been revealed that his master plan was to record the event of the in the parking lot where the Beast and the Overseer is fighting, and then of course there is like a CCTV or a camera from every angle. I mean, Doctor Staple put that camera so Mr. Glass couldn't escape from the facility. But once again, the facility has horrible security, even especially for maximum security. But it's actually horrible. Um, so yeah, that's the twist, the final twist that Mr. Glass original plans to record the event in a parking lot, and basically, and after that he sent the video to his mom, Casey and Joseph, and then all three of them like post the videos, and of course the videos went viral, and Mr. Glass said, and the other superhero will rise, even though the three of them die, which is kind of upset me, and then in the end just the footage just go viral, you know what I mean, and I think people know that superhero are real, and the Clover organization is destroyed by then. But still, I don't think that's a great ending to the trilogy, you know what I mean? This movie has so many potential and so many great ideas, but the way that M. Night Shyamalan executed the idea, like, I don't really like it, man. It's kind of terrible, you know what I mean? Um, Come on, M. Night Shyamalan. I thought this movie was supposed to be your comeback, but I guess some people say it's a comeback, but me personally, it didn't feel like it, you know what I mean? I still like Split and Unbreakable more. It has the tone, and I mean, in this one it has the tone, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel special, you know what I mean? Especially if the title is Glass. But Mr. Glass, well, obviously he's the best part of this movie, but he actually, like, the second half of the movie, where that's where he start his master plan. The first half he just silence, which is kind of disappoint me. But yeah, but overall, I quite enjoy this movie. It didn't feel bored. And all thanks to James McAvoy performance of the Horde, because he's like switching personalities every single time, and that's the thing that kind of make me interested in the movie, because it's kind of interesting to see how he switches between characters, and I really like that. And because of that, the movie didn't feel bored. Imagine if you don't do that, well, the movie is gonna be boring, at least from the second act. And some of you might find the second act is boring, but me personally, it did. Once again, thanks to James McAvoy performance. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie, and if I have to rate it, I think I'm gonna rate this 7.5. I mean, it's pretty great movie. Like I didn't feel bored, even though the twist I didn't like the ending. It's kind of like ridiculous. You know what I mean? By killing three of them, I wish David Dunn survived. David Dunn deserved justice. He just trying to do some good stuff, and then in the end, he just drowned in a puddle. Like what the? Come on, man. At least have David Dunn survive in the end. That would be a good ending, maybe. um, yeah. So once again, I really enjoyed this movie, and I kind of recommend if you guys want to see it, just go see it. And it didn't feel bored. Well, for me personally, I didn't feel bored for this movie, and actually quite enjoy it. Some of the scene and the music is great. The performance were great. Especially Samuel Jackson and James McAvoy performance. Bruce Willis, well, he's okay. I mean, he's pretty much the same kind of dude that every single time you see him on the screen. But that doesn't mean he's terrible. He just done some good, you know, some good performance too. And M. Night Shyamalan, well, I didn't feel this movie is. I think this movie is supposed to be his comeback, but I didn't feel like it. There is some flaws in the movie, and there is some things that I don't even like. You know what I mean? But I still quite enjoy this movie, and I think you guys will enjoy this movie too. And some people said that some of them say the first half of the movie is great. Some people say the first two acts was good, the third act was disappointed, and some people say it's completely disappointing. Me personally, I kind of with the people who say the first two act was great, but the third act was terrible, or at least I didn't like it. I kind of with those guys. So yeah. Hope this review is helpful for you guys if you want to see Glass, and yeah, just go see Glass. I'm pretty sure because so many people have different opinions about this movie. So I can exactly say this movie is gonna be disappointing. I can exactly say this movie is gonna be wow, really really good movie. Because there is so many opinion about this movie, and I kind of 50-50 about this movie, but I highly recommend it. Even so yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you enjoy it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for everybody who've been subscribing to my channel. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.